Okay, and we are live. Everyone, welcome to Masculine Geek number 107. The MG Fireside Chat, the premiere, as in the first one, starting off. It's a new format we're doing. I'm not going to go too deep into what we're going to do. We're just going to show you over the next couple months the changes that will be taking place in Masculine Geek. So here we are. We are going to geek out on audio video. Remember the audio video nerds in high school? Well, now there's audio video nerds and geeks in real life as adults. Although I do have a bit of an audio video background with my work, I've since left that behind. And for the most part, fundamentally, Rob and James are going to be doing most of the talking during this episode. So without further ado, we're going to start with the older gentleman who has more experience, and he has up now. Rob, you want to describe this audio program that you have, editing program that you have?
Sure. This is an editing program called Reaper, like in the Grim Reaper. And if you want to try it out, you can get I believe it's a 30-day trial or something like that. You can download it from reaper.fm, kind of like the radio frequency modulation. Okay. I was showing this to Vince and Jimmy last night, where James and I are both kind of audio video dorks in our own rights. He's played primarily with Audacity, which I started out with, and it's a great program given that it's free and it's pretty powerful in its own right, the things you can do. But when I found out about Reaper to me is the Mac Daddy of digital audio workstations. It's way better than Audacity. You have way more control over everything you want to do with it. After the free trial, I believe it's either $50 or $60 for a license. And in my opinion, it is well worth the expense. Things that I used to do in Audacity, I can do in a quarter of the time in Reaper. And Reaper allows me to have a lot more control over everything. And I decided I wanted to show you guys just a little bit, kind of an overview. This is a very simple project that I'm playing around with right now. And what this basically is I've got a music file already loaded up in Reaper. That's this guy right here. And you guys will be able to hear it because I'm going to...
Just real fast, check the private chat. Keep going, but check the private chat.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm fine with that.
Okay, that was from Victibus. Yeah, okay, good. Keep going.
Good.
All right, cool.
I'm good with that. But anyway, so what this thing comes down to is I downloaded a karaoke song. So it's the original music minus the vocals. And I don't think we're going to get hammered, considering this is, well, it's not copyrighted per se because it's not the original song, but we'll play a few seconds of it. But what I did with this one is I tuned it down so it's a bit heavier sounding. I dropped the key basically, and I increased the beats per minute to keep it at roughly about what it was before I detuned it. But this is a little bit of something I've been working on that I may or may not use in future projects, but I'll let you guys get a listen to this thing.
Work it.
That's right.
That's right, bitch. Take it. You can turn it up a little bit if you want. There you go, yeah. So you've tweaked this a little bit.
Well, let's see. I've got it at 0.868. Okay, I'm going to put it back to its original. This is the original sound. And then basically, for me to compensate for it, because I kind of like it heavier sounding.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Cool. And this is the new program audio editing program you're using for your own podcast, correct?
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. What were you using before?
Well, depending on what I was doing, with most video editors, such as Filmora 10, or actually it's called Filmora X as well, and Davinci Resolve, which, guys, you can check out both of them. Filmora has a limited trial option, and then that one is a pay program. I think that one is $60. It is well worth it, and you get lifetime upgrades with Filmora. And it's really good for older computers as far as the workload on your system. Davinci Resolve has two versions to it. There is a free version, which is completely free from the moment you download it. And it will do, especially if all you really want to do is like make YouTube videos or home videos or little shorts and stuff like that. The free version of DaVinci will do everything you want it to do and then some. Because DaVinci was designed to make movies on. Okay. There are studios that have used DaVinci to make their movies. And the professional, what is called DaVinci Studio, that is $300. It's going to run you $300, but you do get a lifetime upgrade with it. I do know that much. It is
That's
something,
actually not too bad.
It's not, considering the capabilities of it. And with when you buy the $300 version of it, there's quite a bit of stuff that you get that I've looked into. And it's pretty cool. But right now, there's other things that I need to save my money up for. But I have a feeling at some point I will be getting DaVinci Studio, just because the upgrades that it does offer you versus the free are pretty fantastic. I do know that much. But doing editing in Reaper, as an example, James, I don't recall, because it's been a while since I've used Audacity, but if you're watching my screen right now, I am scrolling using my mouse wheel. And because, like, right here, we're seeing the entire music file from beginning to very end. We're seeing the whole thing here. Okay. But when I scroll, it's actually, on my end, it's enlarging it. So I'm actually getting to a granular level where you can see the individual beats and whatnot. I don't recall if Audacity does something that simple. You're muted, James.
I just got the notification for it. That I can confirm still is around, actually. Not still is around, because I don't know if it was always there, but I actually used that quite recently when I was editing one of my projects for Clary. Was I needed to zoom in, I needed to see how the sound was bouncing around, basically. And what tones were playing around inside of it. And that actually did come in handy. Nice. But I don't think it was always there.
And that might be something new, because I don't recall it ever being there. But you can do all kinds of things with this. I'm just kind of playing around with it right now, moving the playhead around, and I'm cutting pieces right out, and I can move them around. I can delete them out. And the one thing that's nice about this too, guys, is this is what is called non-destructive, which means the original music file is not actually being altered in any way, just the project file itself. And so, as an example, I can chop this up and then I can open up the original file like in Windows, like Windows Audio, something like that. My audio program, Winamp, something like that. And the original file is still intact. And
Right,
so
cool.
that's kind of neat. You can add different effects to these things. So some of the things that I like to do would be as some examples. Let's see.
Real quick,
Yeah.
Jim. Go
We
ahead
have
and
two
read.
super chats.
Go ahead and read this. Let me throw out Bacon's first, and thank you, Bacon. Appreciate that.
All right, so Bacon says, just got 1 pound of beef from McDonald's. What did I miss? Man, I miss the Angus third pounders. That's what I miss. And Jambo
the
says,
S
"Cheers,
pounders,
gentlemen." That was the joke, and I'm convinced
Yes.
that's why they stopped selling them, because of you.
Most
fucks.
likely, exactly.
Nobody could pass up the opportunity. But no, Audacity can't just drag and drop them to basically a separate track level
Right.
that easily. You basically have to chop and screw it
Yep.
to another track if you
That's
want to
what she
start
said.
editing that separately.
Yeah, and this one, you saw how easily and how quick I did that. And these are some of the effects that come pre-installed with Reaper. There's only a very small handful of effects that I've added to it. Let's see, because I've just added an effect to this little piece of the track here, just to give you guys an idea. And I'm going to play around with it, and we'll actually even get it to loop.
Cool. Now, Rob, were you involved in this as a high school student, or was this something new?
I was involved with audio editing to a limited degree in college when I was a part of a communication class that I took that was an actual lab. But that lab we worked in the actual radio station. We had to edit. And when it came to editing, this digital stuff didn't even exist. When we had to splice things together, it was literally cutting tape is what it was. Physical, taking a razor blade and editing segments of physical tape is what I had to do. But that's what kind of got me started into all of this, was being a part of the radio station, being the radio personality, the disc jockey, being the engineer, and having to run the soundboard that you had, where you had different faders and sliders, a lot like what you can see right here in Reaper over in this section right here. Different sliders where you can fade the volumes up and down manually. There are scripts and stuff you can download this thing that will do it automatically based on certain presets. But it's pretty amazing. But that's what got me started. All right, let's see if this is going to loop. Okay, it is, but that's not the section I wanted on. Okay, so that's not helping me at all. Let's go to here, and I'm going to go to there. So all right, that's better. But I think I want actually this section. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. All right.
Cool.
That's a pretty good loop. Now, are you able to adjust the tempo of that in that sub window for the loop itself, or?
I can. I mean, I can do it right here down in this little corner section that I can say, bump it up to like, there's 150 right there. Now, that will actually affect the entirety of the rest of the track because I haven't cut it. But I could set this and change the beats per minute on this segment by itself if I wanted to. That is a total option. Oh, there we go. So to kind of give you an idea of some of the things that this thing can do. There is a feature that I've added to it that I had to dig for it, but it will eliminate silence gaps. So if you're not talking for a few seconds or whatever because you're looking for something and it's not picking anything up, Reaper will automatically cut all of that silence out for you based on the parameters that you set up in it. And I've even got it where I've created a button right up here called auto trim that I just click that. It shows me my parameters. With this particular file, it's not going to do anything because there is no silence in this, but you can do, that's what I've done with some of my podcasts. And Reaper will also edit video as well as audio. It's not just for audio, even though that's what they specialize in. You can actually edit video in it. It's a little more complicated than Filmora or Davinci. As far as I'm concerned, there's a couple extra steps to do it, but you can. Because I've even done a little bit of editing in that when I found out that, oh, hey, I can edit video in this. But it is a way that I have cut silence out, especially in my audio versions of my program. I've been able to go in and take one of my old Salt Lake sit downs. And there's a lot of uhs and ums and me smoking and sitting there not saying anything, and trim all that shit out at the blink of an eye. And it's amazing how fast that once you learn how this program works and you set up your own presets, you literally can just load a preset and it does all the work. And then all you have to do is resave the file, render it to whether you want WAV or you want MP3 and whatever sound file you want, you can then render it out that way. And it only takes a few minutes depending on how long your project is. But with Reaper, it's a lot like GarageBand in a lot of senses, that you can not only just edit like pre-recorded music in it, you can record audio to this in real time. So you can do a voiceover, or like where James is doing narration, you can do narration in this. You can record your entire band in this.
Oh, wow.
If you've got the interfaces to plug your amplifiers in or to just plug your guitar in. Because again, like I was showing you that list of effects, there's effects in here, and there's a ton of others that you can download either for free, some you have to purchase. But you can load them into Reaper and get like whatever distortion sound you want for your guitars, wah pedals, all that kind of stuff is available. And you don't even need a studio anymore, as long as you can have some kind of an interface that connects to your computer and connects to your instruments or connects to microphones, like if you were miking a drum set. Gotcha. But you could record your whole band in Reaper. And save each part as a separate track. You have a drum track, a bass track, rhythm guitar, lead guitar, vocals, backing vocals, synthesizers, you name it. This thing can have thousands of tracks potentially, depending on how much memory your computer, how much it can handle. So it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But that's Reaper. Just wanted to kind of show you guys where I know some of the guys in the chat are in MG Life, and I know they're also subscribed to the newsletter. And when I talk about, and where I've not really been on social media a ton lately, this is part of why. This is part of the reason that I'm not really on social media that much, is because I'm busy playing with Reaper, I'm playing with Davinci, playing with Filmora to a degree. And I know there's a couple of YouTubers I follow that are getting ready. I think it's tomorrow. I've got it set to remind me so that I can go back and watch it. But two different guys that I follow. One is a big fan of Filmora. The other one is a big fan of Davinci, even though he has also used Filmora. And I guess they're going to kind of go over the pros and cons, and it's kind of the war of which one's better. Even though it's funny because one of the guys that's going to be on this stream, he's actually talked about, he's done his own little short video of which one is better. And I liked what he said, which was, it's not that one is necessarily better than the other one. It's more, what do you want to do? And if I wanted to do, other than doing it via StreamYard, if I wanted to do a screen share like what I'm doing right now and record this, because I've got a couple of videos like that where you can see my screen as I'm going over things, that is all done in Filmora, because Filmora is very good at doing that, to be able to do a live screen capture in real time. Davinci, as far as I can figure out, cannot do that. And so you would have to record your screen like in OBS or some other thing, or even like StreamYard, and then take that file footage, load it into Davinci, edit it up the way you want, and then add in like your vocal narration, whatever. You'd have to do all these extra steps, where in Filmora, you can do it at the click of one button. And it'll start recording you if you want to do a voiceover. It'll show the mouse moving around like mine is right now. You'll hear the mouse clicks if you want, and you can just do it all on the fly. And that's really nice with Filmora. So if you like to do a lot of on-screen tutorial type of stuff, whether it's a program like Reaper or like some web shot that you're showing, like I did a video on Twitter notifications a little while ago, I just pulled up Twitter on my browser and logged in, made sure nobody could see my credentials and whatnot, so no one's getting into my account, but then walked through how to change your notification settings. And I just recorded all of that in Filmora.
That's the notification settings you were showing me last night. Yeah.
Yep.
Which work very well for
what you needed.
Muting out Spurgs and mentally ill family members. Absolutely. Cannot thank you enough. I don't even see their posts or their mention. It's fantastic. I love it.
Well, isn't it though? I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. It's like when you told me what was going on and James mentioned something about it, and I'm like, I don't even remember seeing this. And yet I was mentioned in it. I was tagged in it, but it never showed up. And that's because of the way I've got my notifications set up.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like, oh, new accounts, unverified accounts. Yeah, those guys, if I don't follow them, they don't follow me. None of their shit ever shows up for me. I don't get any kind of notification that, hey, you're being tagged or whatever.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it is, because it mutes out 70% of the noise.
It does. It gets rid of all that ridiculous surface noise that nobody wants to hear anyway.
Exactly.
I'm always going to preach clearing up your timeline so that you're not just, stuffing your eyes with outrage porn.
Well, that's it. I mean, 80 to 90% of social media is mentally ill retards. I mean, that's been my experience. I'm sure you guys have similar ones.
It's mostly memes, mostly just because I've been cleaning up my feed.
Mm-hmm.
I did that after the election, a little bit before the election. I'm I don't give a shit about this stuff. I'm gonna mute this. I'm gonna mute the words porn, because there was the porn apocalypse going on where my corner are arguing over pornographers should be killed. Whatever.
Ridiculous.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, all right,
and that's a whole nother thing too. Getting doing the mute list on that. I muted out. I created a video on that. Yep. That I was showing my mute words list or phrases where I pretty much muted every...
You want to throw that up?
Yeah, I didn't know that you actually had that specific thing up there.
Let's share that out so we can get some eyes on that, because that's really very, very practical. It's humorous, given the fact that anonymous social media retards are screaming into the void. You might as well be pissing into a windstorm. I'm not going to hear you.
Are you talking about my mute list video?
Yeah, it's the mute list, and then the
notification.
Other one, the notifications. Okay. Let's do both of those. Let's get that up there and get some eyes on that, because that's really good.
All right. Well, let me pull up YouTube real quick then.
Pull.
All right, pull.
So, James, you're going to be next talking a little bit about what you use in your audio editing. And if you want, talk about your artwork too, what you do to do your 3D imaging. So after Rob's done, yeah, we'll do all that stuff too.
All right, let's see. Where's that Twitter ones?
Yeah.
You know what? I know a faster way to find it. Because good God, because both of them are about 3 months old.
Just say they're buried on your site.
Yep. So I need to go to. So I've got a list here somewhere.
Well done, Bacon, and as well you should. We will make mental asylums great again. Not in the dehumanizing way where we're beating the fuck out of you for no reason. Unless you want that. If you request that in writing, we'll do that for you. But just as a respite to get you off the streets, to get you out of society, to get you off social media, because you're really, really a menace. Yeah, and you're annoying. At the very least, you're annoying. We can't have that. We don't need that.
Okay. I'm going to play the notification one first. So let me load it up here.
All right, cool. Well, it'd be funny if we get a copyright ding for something you're a part of.
Wouldn't that be hilarious if they did that? All right. Well, goddamn, it's taking forever to load. It's funny. I have Reaper up and my computer. Everything was just like, yeah, we're good. Now that I'm doing browser crap, it's like, fuck you.
Right.
All right.
Good. Read that, Jim. Jimmy.
Rush says, I'm so cold at homeschool time. Hold me.
Love it.
Oh, shit. Hang on. This is one thing I don't like about StreamYard. Is the fact that when you go to share screen, it doesn't just default to the audio.
Oh, the audio is unchecked. Yeah.
And I hate that. It's like, just check that off. All right. So here we go. Hopefully this is going to play.
There we go. It's working.
Awesome. That's a little slow, but we're going.
Yeah, it's buffering because the browser.
Yeah.
I decided I wanted to show you guys my settings for Twitter when it comes to notifications. I would get a ton
it's struggling.
of notifications. And so whether I was on the phone or I was on the site itself like I am right now, I would have a ton of notifications. Every little thing, so-and-so replied here, this and that and the other, so on and so forth. And it got to be distracting and it got to be too much for me. So I decided I need to go in and manage my notifications. And the more followers you have, the more activity you have, the more you need to keep an eye on it. You might be able to do this from the phone. Do it here and it will carry over to whatever app on whatever phone you're using. The settings I have, first you got to go to more and go to settings and privacy. It's under notifications, advanced filters, and a bunch of these boxes by default, if you're new to Twitter or you haven't messed with it, they're going to be unchecked. Well, you notice I've gone in and checked off all of them. What that does for me is the only notifications I get are from people who follow me and I follow them back. That cuts down probably 3/4 of the notifications that you're going to get both on the website and on the app itself. That doesn't mean you can't see comments or whatever from other people, because you can, but it will diminish the noise and the visuals, all that stuff, where Twitter can be pretty demanding, pay attention to me. So my thoughts for guys, whether you have a small following or you have a large following, is check off all the boxes. So once again, it's more, settings and privacy, notifications, advanced filters, check everything off. Thanks for taking the time to watch.
Okay, so there's that one.
Cool.
And now I've got the Twitter mute word list.
So today I'm going to talk about muted words, the muted word list. What you do is you go to More, Settings and Privacy, Privacy and Safety, Mute and Block, Muted Words. And from here, you have a list of all the words that you want to mute. And there are ways that you can add more of them. If you go up
Pretty
here
clear.
into the corner, you click on the plus sign, and you can add a word or a phrase. And it will hide it on your home timeline, your notifications. It defaults to people from people you don't follow. You can change it to anyone. And it defaults to usually 24 hours, but you can set it up to whatever you want. And then you would click save, and it would end up in your list. And this is my list. This is what I've got set up in my muted words. This way, I don't see anything about politics, because politics to me, I don't need it. And of course, the bug. But if you throw that in there, your timeline will get decluttered from not only anyone, but from also people you follow. Thanks for taking the time to watch this. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe.
So you did that. That was done in Davinci, right?
No, that was done on Filmora.
Filmora. Okay, sorry.
Yep.
It's Filmora. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Cool.
that was all done in Filmora. The only thing that I did was the music part, where you could hear the music on that one. I actually mixed everything in Reaper, mastered it, got the sound the way I wanted it, and then I threw that into Filmora and then adjusted the volume for it.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Now we have you want to go ahead and read Spurg Clary's and thank you for that. I appreciate the $5, Aaron. Oh, you're
For
always,
$5,
always
Aaron
welcome
Clary
here.
for $5 says
Always welcome,
Meditations by James is the most super awesome new YouTube channel. Totes my goats for realsies.
Aaron, I
I'll
will
never repay-
refund your $5 if you never ever write the words totes magoats. Just don't do that. Jesus Christ. It's like cray. Get the fuck out of here, you fucking morons. Gay. So all right. So Rob, so you do the video that you did, that you the screen capture, the video screen capture you did. Were you talking while you were doing that, or did you add the audio later?
No, I was where I shot that in Filmora. I was doing the voiceover in real time. So all of that was done.
Okay, Aaron, don't make me put you in a timeout. I'll put you in a timeout. I'll put you in a timeout, Red. I won't think twice. So that's cool. You went ahead and did that. All right, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
So yep, that's what I've been doing here for the last few months, I guess. Probably since really, I mean, I've been playing with Filmora probably since, oh God, I want to say that was in May or April of last year. So in part of 2019 is when I started fucking around with that one. And Davinci came along for me. It's been out for quite a while, but I started messing with that. I want to say it was probably around September, maybe August. And it's a whole different learning curve to learn how to use that one. And it's steep for me, where I'm familiar with a lot of things. It was like, I'm kind of relearning how to do this in its entirety. But there's been times I've wanted to like throw my computer out the window. But as I keep doing things, repetition kicks in. You watch enough tutorials on how to do certain things, and after a while, it starts to stick.
Gotcha.
And now it's like, oh, I love Davinci, even though it will do way more than I'll ever need it to do. It's like, oh, I love it because, again, granular control.
Gotcha.
So,
all right, cool. Now, James, well, as Aaron just so put up with his super chat, that you recorded something for him and you have it on your new channel. If you want to play the beginning of that, that's cool. If you also want to discuss and describe what exactly you are doing for that, that would be nice, and what you're using to record.
Right, so I'll probably start off with the process, which is Aaron has been writing scripts for me to read, and basically every day about one, depending on how I've set up the alarms, about noon to 2 p.m. or 1 to 2 p.m. I've switched it up a little bit to give myself a little bit more writing time. I'll begin recording on Audacity. I'll begin recording these scripts. And I'm not an expert on audiovisual editing at all. So I've been mostly I'm in that stage of any technical program, any kind of artist program or whatever, any media person's program, where anything I do is just, okay, I need to figure out what a thing does. So now I'm going to look it up on Google, and now I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure out if they have this feature or not. And if they do have this feature, what my alternative is, should I need one for whatever reason, or how to get around it. So for instance, the other day I was looking up whether or not Audacity had a sibilance reducer or reduction program. And they do not. I ended up not needing one, but I have a sibilance to my voice. My voice hangs in the air, as everybody knows, and tends to, if a script has a lot of S sounds. Aaron has a few books, I hear. He should listen. If he's not an author already, he should be.
Only if he writes children books and writes in crayon.
No, exactly. Exactly. Well, those are the easiest books to write.
Well, so that is his mental capacity.
I see.
Yes.
So I'll go in there. Most of what I use Audacity is for, since we're teasing Aaron likes to write really, really long sentences. He's very skilled at making run-on sentences look like not run-on sentences when you're reading them, because your brain is making all of these natural pauses. I, on the other hand, having to read these sentences on loud, am working my lungs like a bellows. So I find that I have to put these weird pauses in the middle of the script, and this is what I use Audacity for, is closing these gaps. And it's mostly just cutting out the exact right amount of time, the right amount of dead air or dead space or whatever, to make sure that it sounds like the sentence is still progressing naturally. But that's mostly what I use it for so far. The only time, in fact, this project that I finally put up, what was it, yesterday, the day before that? Meditations with James was the first time I, in several years at least, actually had to start layering tracks in Audacity, where I had to make sure, I was trying to make sure that these, because we took this idea from the Cynical Libertarian Society, where he would read out a meditation, he would read out some kind of profound text.
So Aaron's ripping someone else off, is what you're saying.
No. We got this guy's permission to.
No, okay, just checking. Just checking.
That. Otherwise, I wouldn't be saying it on air. And yes. So we went. What was it, motherfucker?
Synlibs.
Yeah. So Synlib had this idea where he would read out a text, and the beginning of the text would be followed by these 3 chimes that would sound as the sound of rainfall and thunder appeared. And then he would read the text, and at the end of the text, 3 chimes, the sound of rainfall would intensify somewhat and would continue on for roughly 10 minutes. And this was your opportunity to chew on what you just heard, especially if you were just leaving it on autoplay or something like that. The actual reading, the recording doesn't just, the reading ends. The recording doesn't just end with the reading. You're going to sit around, you're going to chew on it. So that's what we did. And that's what I had to do yesterday was I had to start normalizing things because in order to reduce things like pop sounds, I have to bring my audio way down. Sometimes I have to sit a little bit further back away from the mic, depending on the day and how my voice is progressing. Like today, my heat was blasting in my room, so I got I'm more throaty, and it's harder for me to breathe because there's something in our fucking heater that doesn't work properly. So I can't be as close. If I was to start recording this meditation, I couldn't be as close to the mic. And I've got to let my throat reverberate across the room a little bit more. So I'm going to push that back. And that seems to be the right tone for instance, for the meditations. Because it looks like we're going to have more of a female audience than a male audience. Probably. So Aaron's finally going to have his first majority female audience with this meditations program. Because that's
more women than he's seen or heard ever.
In his entire life.
Yeah. Good on him. Good on you. If you're still watching and listening, good on you, Aaron. Finally, your hard work is paying off.
You're going to finally get the girls.
Exactly. But sadly, through a third party. So it's all right.
Oh, it's not that sad.
It's
by any means necessary.
Well, there's that. If that's the route you want to go down, you're fine with that, and that's how you sleep at night, in addition to listening to the sound of your voice, then sure, go for it.
That is the intention.
There you go. All right, cool. So you're doing that. What now? Are those the only audio projects you're doing thus far, or do you have some in the pipeline?
Those are the only ones thus far, because audio I don't like being on camera at present. I had to lose like 10 pounds before I like being on camera. So that's one of those things where it's like, fuck it. I'm going to get these other projects in first. You know, I'm going to get the writing done. I'm going to get these, get on the comic stuff, try to get into that industry. But when it comes to the audio projects and stuff like that, I usually look at it and I say, oh, this is just a shit ton of work, because if I put something out, I want to make sure that it sounds decent. I did at least 30 takes of the Black Hills, which is the first meditation with James. And a lot of them I just cut off midway through. I'm like, no, I don't like this. No, I don't like this. So if I'm doing, for instance, if I were to open up a channel on tabletop and discussing tabletop design, because that would be a much easier means of actually reaching people instead of just blogging about it, which is torturous. Doesn't always get views when it comes to the tabletop industry. I could post videos on it, and that would probably get a lot more views, especially with my voice, and especially given that I've been engaged in design from 1, a young age, and 2, for quite a few years now. I tend to have respected opinions in that community when I come across these people, but it looks like so much work from the outside that I'm like, I'm not sure if I want to do that. If I'm going to do like 20 minutes if I'm going to put out like a 20 or even 40-minute video, that's going to be a lot of takes. That's going to be a lot of takes. So the matter of finding the right software, as we discussed the other night, is going to influence, if I can become proficient in that in a sufficiently easy manner, given that I have about 10 other projects going on right now. I can, I can get started on that.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Now, there's something that you've talked about before, and it's something you post every night, usually pretty late, but up on Instagram, your daily artwork. You want to explain a little bit about that? Yeah, explain a little bit about that and what program you use for that.
All right, yeah, we'll switch from the audio and go to the visual.
Exactly.
Actually, let's see here. We're gonna go to
and
share
real
screen.
Quick, you have a YouTube channel, right, James?
I do now. It's called Meditations with James. I used to post videos on a channel called Ash of Creativity. I'm gonna go back to that at some point. But when I do, because that's when I was posting basically low production, low quality low production videos about tabletop and stuff like that, and they got some views and stuff like that, but they were not my best work, and they made me upset with it.
Red, if you want to get in touch with James too, just email masculinegeek@gmail.com and I'll get you in touch with him. If that's a good way to do that, rather than just casting about with questions in the chat. That'd be easier. Or go to the contact page on masculinegeek.com.
Yep. Also, if you have Twitter, just find me at Ash of Creativity. I'll be available there. Alrighty, so this is Cinema 4D. My screen is going to go a little bit darker. This is what I use to produce my everydays. I saw a project a couple of years ago. Not a couple of years ago. It would have been like 6 years ago now or something like that. I saw a piece of digital art on Facebook, and I immediately went to the comments because I was just enamored with this piece. And I asked, who did this? How did they make it? And they said, this is an artist named Beeple. Real name Mike Winkleman. And they use a project called Cinema 4D. And what they do is every single day, this person goes online and they produce an artwork and they toss it out to the world, regardless of whether or not they like it, regardless of whether or not it's good. They do it every single day. And over time, this person has basically progressed in such a fashion because they've just done this thing every single day that they've become more proficient with the program. And that's what I do now. Is I have Cinema 4D. This is a very expensive program. You can either license it at like $750 a year, or you just buy it for about, I think, what is it? R21 is, I think, still about $3K. That might go down when R22 eventually comes out, but I don't know. Actually, it might just be unavailable for purchase at that point. And this is basically my editing screen. Is I'll go through and I'll usually start with a couple of abstract objects. I'll see how I can manipulate them. Like I'll go through faces and see what I want to do with a given shape, and I'll start blocking out concepts basically. Like if I want to make this editable, I'll start going through tools and just basically dick around with it until I'm satisfied with a given conceptual space. I'll do that each and every night. And that's the everydays. Sometimes they evolve over time, depending on the different projects I'm using. And whether or not I want to keep engaging with certain concepts, but
how long does it take you to do a typical everyday?
That varies. It could be 12 hours, or it could be 20 minutes.
Okay,
that's the means in which it varies.
Gotcha.
And the problem I often have is that when it comes to the everydays, I don't know precisely how things are going to work when I click the render button. I don't know if something's actually going to pop up that I like. And that's a big part of the everydays, is learning over time whether or not I'm actually going to enjoy this particular, like, okay, I'm creating something in the editing scene. I don't know precisely, these objects are being displaced. And some of these look like they have, instead of just like a completely smooth surface, I can give it some depth and volume to the object. But I don't know exactly, is 10 centimeters going to be enough or too much? Do I need to go even further? Do I need to go to like 35 centimeters? Is the reflection, this object has a reflection channel on it. And that's going to interact and bounce off every other object in the scene. If I end up introducing a new object into that scene, that might make it incredibly messy. And so these are the different, how do I put this? I don't know how to put this. Those are the elements that I'm engaging with every night and trying to get an additional feel for. I don't know what a lot of the stuff precisely does. I'm often interacting with the same channels and the same kinds of objects. But because I keep playing around with those specific channels, I create a wide variety of images just based off those.
Gotcha. I don't normally do this live, but I'm going to because it annoys me a little bit. And I love all you guys, so don't take this too personal. If you do, then that's fine, but we'll work it out. Don't go in the chat and shill your shit on our show. I have no problem with you coming to me, or if you already know James and Rob personally, then reach out to them. If you don't, come to us on the back end. Don't be in the chat. Talk. It's like you're begging for change. That's completely uncool. I wouldn't do it to you, and I'll expect you to do it to us. That's fine. It's cool. Just saying. That's why I said if you want one of us to be on your show, you want more information, do a Google search on one of the names, go onto the Masculine Geek Twitter, go on to masculinegeek.com, masculinegeek.life, or just reach out to masculinegeek@gmail.com. So there you go, gentlemen. I love you all. You're still cool. But I have to say that don't do that. All right. And thank you, Chris. You want to read Chris's
Absolutely. Chris Von Erich for $10 says, here's $10 just for James' fantastic voice. I appreciate
There you
that.
go. We'll make sure James gets that.
So less fantastic tonight because I don't have full hearing in my radio right now.
Oh shit, what happened?
I think it's just a lot of wax in there right now. I gotta go in there and clean it up.
Gotcha.
Probably got fucked up with one of my headphones.
It's kind of disgusting. It's like when you look at your phone receiver, your headphone. You're like, wait a minute, that's disgusting.
Yeah, fuck! I can't believe I forgot this. So I'm paying for it now.
Exactly. All right, we're coming up on the hour mark. Rob, do you want to go ahead and do your thing?
Hit the like, hit the subscribe, sends tingles to YouTube's vagina.
Excellent. Oh, Red. Red, I appreciate it. I'm glad you did what you did. It was still cool. I appreciate that. Thanks for the 5 spot. We've had other people do that as well, and I've been letting it go, and it's like you were the straw that broke the camel's back. So I appreciate it. It's like coming up, guys. Do that. Just do it the right way. There's a certain appropriate fashion to do these kind of things, and that's the way to do it is on sort of the back end there.
Yeah, Red Sings the Blues for $5 says, sorry about that. Here's a $5. Like Vince said, it's not directed at you. It's more or less just a PSA, an opportunity for a PSA.
Exactly. You actually you did help us out. I appreciate this. Actually, thanks for doing that. It was a good thing that you did. John, just stop with the. I love you too with the goddamn Aaron Clary's. Have you taken the course on minimalism, John? It's really good, and Aaron is an engaging talker. Is it expensive? That depends on what your version of expensive is. You're gonna pay what you think you're gonna get value out of, and we live in a nice capitalistic, open market society. If someone wants to charge $1,000 for something because they want to do that, then go ahead. There you go.
Well, that's the thing. And I guess I'll get to this after I read James's super chat for $5 says, I second that. James' vocal cords are a gift. John Steele says he based it on me. He based it on you. Why? Are you a minimalist? To me, there's always two kinds of minimalists. I don't know if Aaron even talked about this. It's like a minimalist by choice or a minimalist because you have to because you're fucking broke. I get both of those. Either one of those are fine. And if that's how you have to be a minimalist, that's fine. And minimalism takes different forms, and there's different ways in which you're a minimalist. And Aaron goes over a lot of that, and he goes over a lot of the sort of the psychological history behind it. Could be worse. Like you could be poor and not be a minimalist. Oh, you could be overspending and poor. Absolutely, and there's a lot of those extremes out there walking around. I mean, I know a lot of people that make a shit ton of money and they drive beater cars. You know why? Because they don't fucking give a shit about showing off. That's what that is, and that's fine. If you want to do, I have no problem with someone buying a car to show off or wear clothes to show off. You want to do that?
go do that. Who fucking cares? If you want to drive a beater, Aaron Clary's not poor. He's a minimalist and he drives a beater truck. There you go. Not for nothing. My next vehicle is going to be a beater F-150, and I'm going to get a dog. I'm going to get a sidecar for my motorcycle, and I'm going to be a minimalist that way. There you go.
There we have it.
Well,
The thing I wanted to mention is when it comes to these things costing like, all right, Clary's program costs what, $600?
I think it's 4 or 5.
Okay, sometime around in the hundreds, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're looking at $5,000 for that. I mentioned earlier today that just a few minutes ago that if I want to use Cinema 4D, which is a very powerful motion graphics program,
yeah.
I have to pay either $750 a year, or I got to pay $3,000. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and on top, that's before things like plugins. Like if I want a decent particles physics program that I want to be able to use, that was actually funny. As I said back at the beginning of the Rona thing.
Well, that's just fucking dumb, John. You want to read that? You want to read that one?
I'm in Cockring.
You could have gotten that half off, I'm sure. Anyway, that's your own.
Did she like it? Was the question? But
I think it's the question is did he like it?
Oh,
so on both ends. But that's we're not judging. Whatever you want to do.
I never judge anybody.
Exactly. Well, we do, but we just don't say it.
Speaking of which, I'm going to share the screen again and let me get one of the actual things that I did this.
Oh, okay.
So this is one of the editing areas. Let me take this off of. All right, it's on standard right now. That's good. So if I want to use a program like this to create new images and stuff like that, I am priced out of that market unless I have the money.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? They are fostering a specific variety of clientele that they say, okay, this is the threshold that you have to be at if you actually want to engage with our services, if you want to engage with our product. And there's good reason for that, because when I was looking for programs that were extremely cheap and I was pirating whatever I could, and I would not be a good customer in some sense, because I was looking for these hack jobs, these things I could do super quickly, not put any effort into, not do anything worthwhile with. And so the reputation of your clientele impacts your product. People love Cinema 4D, and Cinema 4D gets to charge somewhat outrageous prices because Cinema 4D is an extremely powerful program. It produces extremely powerful effects. They can get away with it. So if Clary wants to do something like, for instance, charge $5,000 for his minimalism course, he is staking his claim. He's planting his foot and saying, this is worth this degree of clientele. I'm going to price people out of this market. Ryan Stone has talked about this all the time, actually, about how he will increase his prices until he doesn't have to deal with certain clients.
Yeah, no, that's
worth to deal with them.
That's it exactly. I mean, that's why we have masculinegeek.life priced as the way we do. It's to keep out spurgs and retards and people that are serious about joining up.
Yeah. If you have a monthly, if you have Masculine Geek is, I believe, a monthly subscription. Yes,
correct.
Right. So you're keeping people up to date, and you're saying, you say, oh, I forgot the lighting's a lot different on this one because I usually apply filters once I go to a different rendering window. This is the in-editor renderer.
Gotcha.
And stuff like that. So I would brighten up. For instance, you could see all these colors there on that snail there. They would be brightened, and I would go into another program that would trace over it and kind of bring everything into a cleaner, actually bring it into fewer colors, because sometimes less is better. If you have too many things going on the screen, you can't focus on any one given object, and it just looks messy, like it kind of does right now. Especially given how dark it is, you can't see the red on the shell quite as well. But that's the sort of thing that Cinema 4D can do, and that's why they get to charge a ridiculous amount of money. That's why Aaron Clary gets us, charge a ridiculous amount of money.
John, do you really want to talk about this now? Because I will, and I'll give the reasons why we censored you. In fact, you can come on the show and we'll talk about it. Because I don't want to do this, but I will. And you brought it up, which is bullshit.
There's so many notifications on this. There we go. But yeah, so when it comes to a program, for instance, Reaper has a paid version. Filmora, I believe you said, also has a paid version.
Yes.
Is Davinci free?
The main version is, and it'll do more than you'll ever need, but they do have a studio version that's $300. It does even more, but either one, you can get either one. And the free version is always free. There's no catches. There's no like watermarks or limitations to how long you can make your videos, anything like that.
Yeah. No,
John,
absolutely.
John, go ahead and follow Masculine Geek and send me a DM, and I will send you the link.
And so again, it's pricing things out of the market. It's like, listen, we're going to engage in support for this product. We're staking our claim in it. And if you want a piece of that, if you want skin in the game, this is what it costs. We're going to set the terms for that.
Oh, shit. All right, let's see. Message requests.
You go turn my heat off. I'll be right back.
Should be interesting. Hey, John.
Hey, man.
How are you?
Hey, good. Could you hold 1 second? Because I had a couple of windows open, so I don't want it to echo. Because I was listening to you on the.
Sure.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Okay, I'm good. Sorry that took so long. I just had a bunch of windows opened.
Nah,
First, I just want to say, Vince,
yes.
you did nothing wrong. They're just like everybody else. They're just like everybody else, and I fully believe in the 6 trillion. I mean, sorry, million. I just want to say that I'm all about that. So, anyone took offense by that, I'm totally sorry. And if I offended any SJWs or snowflakes, I sincerely apologize.
No, you didn't offend anyone. The subject matter that you wanted to bring up in a private forum would have been fine, but you were just dropping in videos to drop them in with no contextual framework around them. On top of that, you were bashing Aaron Clary. I don't care what issue or problem you have with Aaron Clary. That's between you and Aaron. Knowing that we're friends with Aaron and then coming into a forum to bash one of our friends, that's not cool to me. So those are two caveats as far as like anything else goes in our forum. Of course, I don't want anti-Semitism, and I don't want bashing friends. That's fine, and that's all I said. That's all I said. If you didn't want to deal with that, that's fine. You didn't. You dropped out, and then I totally respect that. No hard feelings. No hard feelings now. But I didn't need you just dropping these videos in our farm just to drop them in there with like I said, no contextual framework. Hey guys, this is how I feel. This is what I think and believe. You guys, would you mind talking about this? Could we discuss this?
Yes, I think it was in a history forum. At that time I joined Masculine Geek, it was kind of in its genesis, and
it was in its infancy. Yes.
Yes. and I was starting a forum on history and alternative history, and a lot of this stuff. And I feel this is a personal thing of mine, and I kind of thought this was an open forum where a lot of, especially now because the censorship, if you may or may not have noticed this, has gotten so extreme. I thought that these are a lot of topics that a lot of people are unaware of, and I thought that excuse the gayness of this phrase, but Masculine Geek may be a safe space to talk about things like that, to make it aware, because some of the things that I've educated myself on quite extensively over the decades are things a lot of people don't know about. And just finding these resources is not easy. They literally do not even show up in Google searches.
No, I believe
So, they don't. It can show you that. So I won't bore anyone with that now. But so things like that. So that's what I was hoping to do. And then, your response to it just kind of just totally shut that down, saying that was a taboo topic. As far as Aaron Cleary, I'm sure he's a big boy and can, take care of himself. And if anyone wants to get into talking about Aaron, we can do that too if you'd like.
No, we're not going to talk about Aaron unless Aaron is here. And talking about Aaron on the forum, the way you were, maybe you meant to be jocular and just funny. I couldn't tell because there were no.
You never asked, never reached out to me.
There were no adverbs, but it just like you at the same time you were doing that in our chat. So it's like I don't have time for that.
Right, and I just misunderstood, like when you said it was a free open debate. I thought, it wasn't like I was going on there posting tentacle porn or anything like that, or any kind of porn.
Actually, tentacle porn probably would have been fine.
Okay, well, there you go. So I wasn't clear about that. What
I'll do is I'll put up a disclaimer on Masculine Geek and I'll let you know that anti-Semitism versus tentacle porn, we're fine with one and not the other. So I'll make sure I note that next time.
Make a pro-con list.
Exactly. It's like these are things.
I think I asked you to do that, and you didn't. You said you would. I said a list of banned topics, and you actually responded saying, "Yeah, I could do that," and you never did.
If that was after the two things that you posted, then out of my head, yes, absolutely. So
yeah, no,
that generally is useful because I don't think any space by and large is like completely open and free and whatever.
The only thing I was initially the reason why I didn't even think about those two topics that I was annoyed with were the fact that I wouldn't even think it would be an issue, such as they were. So going forward, now that I know that these are things that people think about and want to talk about, and maybe we don't want to have that on there, it's like, okay, well, for the most part, yes, this is an open forum within reason. There are certain things that as running this forum and owner of Masculine Geek Life, I don't want to talk about. So,
right. See, that wasn't made clear. So I thought
that's the thing about advertising your space is free and open and stuff like that. Because literally any of these alternative platforms that show up is kind of within a day, you get people jumping on there immediately, and they're like, "Well, we're going to stress test the system and see how quickly we can get this alternative platform booted off the fucking internet."
No, James, you're absolutely right. Like believe that's what happened to Gab. I never really spent any time there. Yeah, I don't even know if Gab's still around. But this was a subscription based service. Like I think Vince, even when he was marketing it right before, I think that maybe the day I signed up, right before I signed up, he actually said that we're charging you. It's kind of like the privilege of being able to post what you want. Like, and I thought that was well within reason. I mean, what you might call anti-Semitism, a lot of people just call revisionist history. And a lot of things that. I mean,
here's the thing: the forum that you opened is titled "Why Jews Are Evil." Now, that's you could do why Muslims are evil, why Christians are evil, and stuff like that. And you could do why Jews are evil.
Why atheists?
Those things are logically equivalent. You could totally, logically speaking, they're not. As we saw, you can't really mention the Holocaust online. Like if you want to say the J word, man, you got to have a 23andMe ready. You gotta. Seth Rogen is gonna hop in your DMs and say, "Hey, are you one of the chosen?"
Yeah, you one of the chosen people. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you open it like that, the instant you're coming in with the
Well, that's why I converted to Judaism.
well, I think that's a pretty smart idea.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good idea. I've been long looking for whatever it is that I can do to make sure that I don't eventually get canceled on the internet. Hey, what protected class I can join? I haven't found it yet. I'm glad that you have yours. But when you come on and post that, like this is an object level take, and it's one that is societally condemned. So you're two strikes in to begin with. Now this is a private forum.
Exactly, it's private. Yeah.
So it's not. I don't think it's anything that's going to get anybody's going to get in trouble for. I don't think Vince is going to get in trouble for it. I don't think Rob is going to get in trouble for it. But Vince might as well have just said, "I think this topic is stupid. I think this is spurgy," which I think it is, in some sense. At the very least, it is to open up like why Jews are evil. It's like, man, this is 2001 Reddit atheism applied to something else. This is a very insular bubble in the internet that actually engages with this content. And so if you came in and said, why white men are evil, you would have gotten a similar response.
Pretty much.
Well, I think it would have depended. Like, for example, if you were in a paid feminist forum and you said why white men are evil, you'd other than getting 1,000 upvotes and probably your own TV show, I might beg to differ there. So that's why I thought.
No, I'm speaking about this forum in particular.
Right. But that's what I meant. Like,
No,
so I didn't know this. I didn't know that I thought that specifically this forum that we could discuss those kind of things.
Right.
And like in a semi-private way, like not something that I would.
Well, just let's be clear right now, and obviously you're aware of this, but let's make it more aware. The incidents that you were talking about were never made public. Now they are.
Yeah, I was just going to say, James, thanks, brother.
Yeah, I mean, now
I would have preferred if James didn't. Well, I mean, it's one of the reasons I don't show my face, but I mean, the title of itself was for shock value. That wasn't it was kind of just you're on a forum for the first time, just wanting to get views or whatever. Or also at the time, the forum had just opened up and there wasn't a lot of traffic. Vince, I don't know what it's like now. I haven't been on it in a while, but there was very little traffic. So it was kind of almost wanting to generate something, even if it was just memes and such, because there was just nothing there, and I was just.
Well, that's one of the main. That is one of the main things that I talked about as far as like I don't want memes and bullshit on the forum. That's just not. If I want that kind of stuff, I'll go on social media, and if you want that stuff, you get it for free on social media.
Yeah, no, you go to 4chan, but it was just my
Exactly.
point is it was just the idea of trying to create some traffic or just conversational discourse.
Amos, you should go on there and do a forum on Asian cuisine.
Yeah,
the American idea of Asian cuisine is fried. Okay, we took duck and we fried it, and now it's Asian cuisine.
Well, I mean, everything is contextual. Like I believe it was on Masculine Geek where who was on it? The guy that he's Asian and Polish. I can't remember his name. He's quite funny, and he had the restaurant in Taiwan that had a Holocaust theme to it. Do you remember that?
Oh, that was Amos. He was the one. He's the one.
That is Amos. Oh, okay,
yeah. He's the one. He's the one that actually showed that. It's not his, but he was showing that video. Yes.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This goes back to the earlier conversation about all these alternative programs. The first thing that people do, they go, "Ooh, free speech," and this was advertised as a free speech platform. The first thing people do is they jump on and they go, right?
Yeah.
First thing they do, stress testing. And you can say that's to generate discussion, and that's for shock value. We're testing the system to see if we could actually get eyes on this stuff. In reality, it never does. A private forum or no, it doesn't do that. It just usually just knocks out the system. Dick Masterson is having to deal with this on what is it? PayPig, one of his Fediverse instances, one of his federated instances, Mastodon instance, if I'm correct. Paypig.org, by the way, is where you could go for that. The first thing that people do is they try to get it knocked off the internet and stuff like that. So say it's a private forum. Say somebody else is in there. Say somebody pays for Masculine Geek that actually is a little bit of a pussy and actually gets annoyed at certain things, and that sets them off. And now, they go off and they try to report Vince, or they try to report the site. They try to get eyes on it. You saying that, apologies, I guess I did read that out loud, but anybody could have done that. Anybody with access to that, just by virtue of paying, and if they're on there, and if they find themselves that they need to spurg out and they need to share this, like that could potentially have consequences depending on how far people are willing to take it. And as we've seen in recent days, can't mention this shit online, people go after you for it, even in the most innocuous content.
I'll say my bad for not mentioning certain taboo things that I didn't want to deal with on my own site. Whatever, that's fine. Those are probably the two things other than memes. So going forward, I'll have that little disclaimer. Now, having said that, it is now 1:20. We were actually over the hour mark. We wanted to keep this at an hour, but we brought John Steele on to explain his situation, and then we discussed a little bit. We'll figure things out if we need to later on after the show off public. So everyone, I want to thank you for joining us for this interesting and unusual Masculine Geek episode 107, the MG Fireside Chats premiere issue. We started off with audio, video, geekery, and either evolved or devolved into our current discussion. So having said that, I want everyone to have good weeks. Enjoy the snow, if the snow is coming out. Everyone who's getting hammered with snow and has their power outage, my heart goes out to you. I hope everything is well and your families are safe. And we will talk to you next time.